This is the gun. It's not hard to put together.
I'm not going to get into private considerations internally on that front.
Okay.
And we expect a large difference between core and headline inflation, reflecting the global disruptions in energy and food markets.
A lot of news, a lot of it not awesome. The president unveiled some new gun laws that he wants to push yesterday and ended up breaking several DC laws in the process. Jen Psaki talks about inflation, and then inflation numbers came out today. They are not good. You need to be aware of this. Also, the UN has kicked Russia out of the UN Security Council, which is a joke anyway. And Philly has reintroduced mask mandates indoors. Holy cow, this is a dismal day. But you need to know this stuff on Daily Caller Live. My name is Jobob. Daily Caller Live starts right now.
2, 1.
Here we go.
Might be the only brown guy on earth named Jobob.
That is actually her name, Jobob.
Live from a dingy bunker completely cut off from the outside world, except for you fine folks. My name is Jobob. This is Daily Caller Live. On today, it is April 12th, the year of our Lord 2022. New you in 22, new Biden in 22. Maybe not. A lot of people in the comment section say, "Hey, great, good morning." Cody says, "Good morning from Arizona," and then a bunch of Bidenism more on FJB, all of that sort of stuff, which is not out of the ordinary. But I want to get to this first. Here is yesterday's screed. Biden, this is the story that I'm taking away. A lot of people are going to talk about the whole ghost guns and all that sort of crap. We'll cover that too. But I want to point out the fact that the President of the United States broke DC gun laws by carrying a gun, a handgun, not registered to himself. Ooh, spooky. This is from the president's press conference yesterday, in which he was in possession of a firearm, not his own. Check this out. This is Joe Biden talking about ghost guns, trying to talk about manufacturing and all that sort of stuff, having a go at it. Check this out.
A functioning firearm, you bought a gun. Take a look. Take a look at this. Comes in this package. You can see the picture down here maybe. This is the gun. It's not hard to put together. A little drill, hand drill at home. Doesn't take very long. Anyone can order it in the mail. Anyone. Folks, a felon, a terrorist, a domestic abuser.
Okay, so Biden yesterday unveiled a bunch of ghost gun laws. Ghost gun is a term now being pushed by a bunch of your big anti-gun people. Biden gun control announcement. This is from Reuters. Ghost guns. Okay, so this is how Reuters defines it. This is how the lefty people, the anti-gun people are defining it. So you should probably know what it means when people are talking about it and bringing it up. Ghost guns are privately made firearms that are not marked with a serial number and are difficult for law enforcement to trace when used to commit a crime. That's the big thing that I want to hit on. They're dang near difficult and near impossible to do anything about. There are some cases where, it's unfortunate that they are able to get around some of the rules, I guess. But on the other hand, how are you going to enforce any of this stuff? The big main theme of this show, if you haven't been paying attention for all that long, if you're new to the show, thanks for joining us, by the way. If you're new to the show, you will notice a theme that laws are only good if they're enforceable. The Biden administration rolled out a bunch of laws yesterday, or a bunch of rules yesterday that they're proposing that are unenforceable by anyone, anywhere, at any time. This rule would make it illegal for businesses to manufacture such kits without serial numbers and for a licensed gun dealer to sell them without a background check, Biden said. Again, how are you going to enforce that entirely? I would imagine the gun lobby in the next couple of weeks will be lobbying hard against this. But staying on the president for the moment, this is not good. Tori says, how can you see a ghost gun? Craig says, Ghostbusters. I like it. I like it a lot. Some of you guys in the comment section are hilarious. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Also, there's a couple thousand of you watching right now across all of the Daily Caller platforms. I can see the numbers on the screen. If you wouldn't mind just clicking the little like button or the little share button, I would really, really appreciate it. Inflation numbers are out today. Oh boy. Look, I am fully aware that inflation is not the most sexy thing to talk about. It's not cool to talk about. It's not fun to talk about, but it's going to affect you more than pretty much anything that this administration is doing. The Biden administration can talk about, diversity on the Supreme Court because somebody has more pigment than other people on the Supreme Court. None of that stuff actually matters when it comes down to how it affects your wallet and your everyday ability to spend the money that you earn on products that you need. Inflation does. Again, I know it's not the most fun and interesting thing to talk about, but today, inflation numbers came out, and inflation has been at a 40-year high, but it's now past that. It's the highest it's been since 1981. Inflation reaches 8.5%, which means if you didn't get an 8.5% raise at your job, a lot of places have merit increases that are like 3%. I know several people that I know's merit increases are like 2 or 3% based on the year annually for their salary. That means you lost 5% of your salary this year. Can you imagine? Picture this for me. If your boss came to you and said, "Hey, you're not getting a raise this year." Okay, whatever. I guess that's how things work sometimes. But given inflation is what it is, imagine your boss coming to you and saying, "Hey, I'm going to reduce your pay. Not only are you not getting a raise, I'm going to reduce your pay by 8.5%. If you make $100,000 a year, that's $8,000 a year that you're losing out on. If you make $50,000 a year, that's $4,000 that you're losing out on. If your boss came to you and said, "Hey, I'm going to decrease your salary," same work, same labor, same whatever it is that you do, all of that's staying the same, but I'm going to decrease your salary, you would lose your mind, rightfully so. But that's what inflation is currently doing to the American pocket. Jen Psaki yesterday was anticipating the inflation increase coming out today from the government. Let's play a little clip from Jen Psaki, and then we'll read a little bit more about the non-sexy topic but very important issue that is inflation. Watch this.
So because of the actions we've taken to address the Putin price hike, we are in a better place than we were last month. But we expect March CPI headline inflation to be extraordinarily elevated due to Putin's price hike. And we expect a large difference between core and headline inflation, reflecting the global disruptions in energy and food markets. So core inflation doesn't include energy and food prices. Headline inflation does. And of course, we know that core inflation, energy, the impact of energy, of course, on oil prices, gas prices, we expect that to continue to reflect what we've seen the increases be over the course of this invasion. And just as an example, since President Putin's military buildup accelerated in January, average gas prices are up more than 80 cents. Most of the increase occurred in the month of March, and at times gas prices were more than $1 above pre-invasion level. So that roughly 25% increase in gas prices will drive tomorrow's inflation reading. And certainly it's not a surprise to us, but we certainly think it will be reflected.
So I would let that run longer than I think I would have normally, but I wanted to let you hear a bunch of the nonsense gobbledygook coming out of the White House press secretary, trying to mask the fact, the Putin price hike, trying to mask all the nonsense and cover up the fact that inflation is, again, now at an over 40-year high. We were talking about inflation being at a 40-year high in December of this year, January of this year, when Russia had not invaded Ukraine. I think it was at 7% in February alone, 7.5%. So it's gone up an entire percent. But also it was already at record highs before that. So when they try and blame it on the Putin price hike, get out of here with that crap. One thing to just quickly mention, if you're in the comment section, I would love to bring some of these comments on, but you guys use such vulgar language sometimes. I can't. Like Peter, you made a great point about except for Congress and Senate gave themselves a 21% raise with our tax dollars. Yeah, that's a fantastic point. I would love to bring that comment on the screen, but you dropped the F-bomb twice in it, so now I can't. So if you're going to comment something witty and hilarious, I do read them in real time, and we do try and bring them up on the screen whenever possible, but try and keep the F-bombs to a minimum so that I can actually show people. Where are we at? Inflation jumped 8.5% in the last year, highest since 1981. This is from Politico, I believe. Inflation soared over the past year at its fastest pace in more than 40 years, with costs of food, gasoline, housing, and other necessities squeezing American consumers and wiping out pay raises that many people have received. You see signs around your city that say, like, I don't know, Del Taco starting at $18 an hour, which is like $36,000 a year if you work 40 hours a week full time with 2 weeks vacation. All of that is completely negated because you've lost now 8% of 9% effectively. And also, here's another thing that was in this. Let me finish this off, and this is actually a really interesting point at the bottom that I want to get to. The Labor Department said on Tuesday that its consumer price index jumped by 8.5% in March from 12 months earlier, the biggest year-over-year increases since December of 1981. The government report also showed that inflation rose to 1.2% from February to March. That's up from 0.8% increase from January to February. So these numbers are, again, coming in from March. There's a line in here that I thought was fascinating that I'm just like, yeah, the government report. This is the government, the federal government that doesn't operate independently from the Biden administration, that's getting hit hard with this, talking about inflation. Now, I have no reason to believe that they're lying, but at the same time, what reason do I have to trust them? I don't actually know. So the government is saying it jumped 8.5%. I would be curious to see if there's any think tanks out there that calculate their own inflation. I don't know if they have the data or the mechanics to consume that data. But if anybody said, actually, inflation is like 11%, I wouldn't be surprised because it's the government that's in charge of putting out inflation numbers. Let me see if we can read any of these. Any of these. Nope. I wanted to get to this. I've been promising this the last couple days. Thursday, there was some news. We mentioned it on Friday, mentioned it again yesterday, but just too many things going on. UN boots Russia from the Security Council. So the UN, which is useless, booted the Russian Federation from the UN Security Council. The Security Council is tasked with keeping world security and peace around the globe. They are not good at that, considering the fact that they have no actual power and no legal authority to do anything. However, people do look to them to see what they're talking about, what their resolutions are, who they're condemning and who they're not. For some reason, they have some sort of pull. The hilarious part about it is Russia, the country that's invading Ukraine right now and has been for the last 6 weeks, was also on the UN Security Council. And finally, on Thursday, the UN General Assembly decided, hey, we probably shouldn't have these people on the Security Council. Remember, everything needs to be fair in the UN. So even countries like Russia and Saudi Arabia and China get to be on the Human Rights Council, the Security Council. I think China is still on the Human Rights Council, by the way. Dang it! I meant to grab videos of what's happening in Shanghai. We'll get that tomorrow. I promise you we'll get that tomorrow. There's some pretty disturbing dang videos from China as they try to deal with a crazy COVID outbreak. Circling back, they are still on the Human Rights Council, violating hundreds, if not thousands, of human rights violations, specifically to the letter of the law as it is written at the UN. So, yeah, Russia got booted from the UN Security Council. I wanted to play this clip. This is from yesterday, a Jen Psaki clip. This one's actually pretty interesting. If you haven't already, click the little like button, click the little share button. Really helps us out, gets to more people. But Jen Psaki was asked, hey, who makes the decision on whether or not the president goes to Ukraine? Her answer wasn't, well, I'm going to play this and see what you think on Psaki's answer in the White House press briefing room.
Who decides if the president goes to Ukraine or not?
In what way?
He had said when he was in Poland that he expressed interest in going to Ukraine, but they wouldn't let me. So I'm wondering who.
I'm not going to get into private considerations internally on that front.
Okay.
So she was asked, hey, Biden was talking about, he was asked when he was in Europe, hey, are you going to go to Ukraine? He said, they won't let me. Then Psaki was asked in the White House press briefing room, hey, what did he mean by that? Who is they? Who won't let him? The answer that Jen Psaki could have gave is the president makes that decision. He's the commander-in-chief. He is the boss of all of us and can do whatever he dang well wants whenever he dang well pleases. But that's not what she said. She said instead, well, who knows? I'm not going to divulge private information that we had in our private conversations. Interesting. Privacy and executive privilege matters when the Biden administration is being questioned, but not when the Trump administration is being questioned. We'll leave that there and we won't dig into that too much. But lastly, I wanted to get to this because holy moly, they're back. Mask mandates are back in Philly. A lot of you are probably looking at this, depending on where you are in the country. If you live in Texas or anywhere in the Midwest, really, Florida, a bunch of these places, the South, most of the country, really, you're probably looking at, wait, like the mask mandates? The masks for the virus proven not to work. They're putting those back? Why? Well, they're doing that in the city of brotherly love. The mandate okay. So officials announced on Monday that because of the COVID-19 Omicron BA2 subvariant, officials announced Monday that Philadelphia will go back to indoor mask mandates. Here's what I think is hilarious about this. Like, this is like hilarious. Like, hilarious, but also terrifying about this is that when places put in mandates or restrictions or lockdowns, they don't do it right there. These are so important that we have to put them in place, but we're going to do it in a week. Listen to this. I think this is from, where is this from? CNN? The mandate will go into effect next Monday and requires masks inside schools and childcare settings, businesses, restaurants, and government buildings. So everywhere falls into the category of schools, childcare, businesses, restaurants, and government buildings. The Philadelphia Department of Public Health said in a statement on social media, at that time, residents will be asked to report any businesses not complying with the mandates to Philly 311, the department added. All right. How much fun can we have with this? Philly 311. How many people around the country can blow up that line, tattletaling on any of the government officials putting this in place? Because you know they're not doing it. Everybody knows that they're not following their own rules. They haven't been for the last 2 years. And any new iteration of mask mandates, they're not going to follow that either. So I wonder, nationwide, since we have a national show, a global show, if you count some of the people that watch overseas, the expats that want to still stay up to date with what's going on in the United States, I wonder how possible it would be to blow up that line to make it completely unuseful. I'm not advocating for that. You're saying, I wonder what that would look like. Could be kind of fascinating. April 11th, the city is averaging 142 new cases per day. That's it? And 44 hospitalizations, a 50% increase from the previous 10 days. Yeah, dude, but oh my gosh. I don't know. Does anybody live in Philadelphia that's watching this? Anybody live in Pennsylvania? I'm actually curious. How is this being received by the people in Philadelphia? Because what I know, people from Philadelphia, what I know from people of Philly, like diehard Eagles fans type people, they haven't been caring about this for a long time. So I'm wondering who actually is, one, in favor of this, and two, is going to comply. The increase triggered the city to activate level 2 COVID-19 response system, which includes requiring indoor mask mandates. Jeez. Yeah, I don't know. Anybody here running with the red workforce? Dale lives in Philly. Dale, what's going on? Do you think people are going to comply with this? I'm actually curious. Would love to see it in the comment section if you think people are actually going to comply, or if it's going to be like the state of California when California went back into masking December 15th to January 15th, and they extended it to February 15th, and ended up with more COVID after the fact than they did at the beginning of it. So there's that. But most people in California, myself included, just didn't pay attention to it. I think I got asked one time to put a mask on. I'm like, all right, well, I just don't need to shop here then. Thanks. So I'd be super curious to see if anybody in Philly actually follows this mandate. There's a lot of the article that I don't want to go back to things because I feel like we covered it. You know what? Nah, there's no rules. We're going to do it anyway. To quickly go back to this, I was reading the Philly stuff and I realized, holy crap, there's some interesting stuff on the UN kicking Russia out of the Security Council that just didn't cover because I'm an idiot and forgot to read it. This is from CBS News. Russia was suspended from the UN Human Rights Council on Thursday for what it's called gross systematic violation. The 193-nation General Assembly vote, the only one in 11 years that suspended a nation from the Human Rights Council, required a two-thirds supermajority to be present and voting to count that excludes abstentions. Get this. 24 countries voted to keep Russia in the UN Security Council, with 58 nations abstaining. Nations speaking against the US-led effort before the vote included North Korea, no surprise there, Iran, no surprise there, Venezuela, no surprise there, China, no surprise there, Cuba, no surprise there, but Brazil was also speaking against this and trying to keep Russia in the UN Security Council. Senegal, which how relevant is Senegal? Kazakhstan, South Africa was trying to keep the UN Security Council, including Russia, Egypt, Mexico. Some of these countries are kind of like, wait a minute, are we not on the same page here, guys? We're going to keep Russia in the UN Security Council. These, again, are countries speaking out the U.S. against the U.S.-led effort. But not all voted in the resolution. Some of them abstained. But again, Brazil, South Africa, Mexico, all voted, or all were speaking against the U.S.-led effort to kick Russia out of the UN Security Council, which seems to be objectively what should happen. I don't know. I just thought that was interesting. Don't usually go back on stories like that, but whatever. It's a Tuesday. There's no rules. That's going to do it for us today. Whoops. That's going to do it for us today. I appreciate you tuning in, taking the time to catch up on the news of the day each and every day here at Daily Caller Live. We appreciate all of y'all sharing and liking and all that sort of stuff, all the stuff that you do. Shoot, I didn't get back to, let me see if Dale commented back. He said he lives in Philly. And I'd be curious to see if anybody's going to follow those rules. So it doesn't look like Dale responded. That's fine. Good luck if you're in Philly and the mask mandates are back. Geez, that's going to be interesting to see. They're back Monday, by the way. They're not back today. They're in a week from now. It's so important that we have to enforce it in a week. Anything we're going to talk about tomorrow, we'll be back here tomorrow. Same time, same place. Wow, this is a dismal day. Just a lot of weird things happening. Biden is stupid gun control stuff, all of that crap. If you haven't already, give me a follow on any of your social media platforms. The Instagram is going nuts. A lot of new people on Instagram, a lot of new friends. Appreciate you hanging out there and taking the time to interact and engage with all of the hilarious content that I put out. So if you haven't already, just type in JOBOB on any of your social media platforms. Truth Social, Getter, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Holy cow, there's a lot of it. Would love to stay connected and engaged on any of those platforms. That's going to do it for us today. We will see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. God bless America.